questions,
instead of
Zach?
yours.
You guys
yeah.
ready?
No, I thought I heard Zach's.
First item of business, I'd like to call to order the Finance and Property Committee meeting Tuesday, July 7th, first floor conference room at City Hall, 444 West Grand Avenue. I'd like to welcome everybody, those at home. Councilperson Dolan and Councilperson Heft, Chad Royals excused for the Finance Committee. Second item, an application for a Class B liquor and beer license filed by Southwood County Recreation Center, Incorporated, Todd Knuth, agent for the premises at 2711 16th Street South. Anybody here to speak for that? I'm guessing Mr. Phillips is.
Well, we'd like to have a beer license for the youth, not the youth organizations, just for the River Kings games and other activities that we have there. We're gonna have a curling tournament here next weekend, which we won't be able to have beer, but things like that. So we have an agreement with the Board of Education to have beer for non-youth athletic events. We look forward to you approving that.
Do you have something from the Board of Education in writing for that?
I don't have it with me.
Or maybe it wasn't there?
I don't know if it's in or not. but
No,
I
it's
know
not in there.
It went to the board and
Okay.
They have,
But,
Yeah.
right,
I signed it the other day.
okay.
I'm president of Southwood County Rec Center, and they signed it. I have not got a copy of it
Okay.
yet.
We'll
They
just
have to-
put that in the file once
the
you.
superintendent has to sign it.
Mhm.
yeah, that'll be good.
Any idea the revenue you're hoping to generate by having this available?
Well, the River Kings have 20 games there over the winter months. I really don't.
Just curious if the board's kind of thought about it.
We're just starting out.
Sure.
They say that you can increase the attendance if you have beer for those games. We're gonna isolate it, so it's not, they're not gonna be running all over the place with beer, but we'll try to control it as much as possible. We'll have some law enforcement there, and we'll only serve beer through the second period, and at the start of the third period, we cut it off so that we'll driving away with it.
But you were requesting a liquor license also?
No, just
No.
Class
No.
B.
Oh,
Class
okay.
B
That's
beer.
wrong.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what, in terms of like locking up the liquor and that, how does that?
We will be building a separate
Okay,
room.
great.
Where we'll store the stuff and sell it out of that, and have licensed bartenders,
Mhm.
obviously, and have it locked up at all times. That was one of the restrictions that the Board of Education put on us, which we agreed to.
And there's one last question. You say athletic events, what if someone wants to have I'm thinking gun show, maybe that's not the right, a good example. But I mean, you know, would you, or rummage sale, I mean, that non-athletic event, would you be selling beer possibly at those things also?
Right, we, like,
Okay.
if we would've got it sooner, we would've liked to have beer for this curling bonspiel that's coming
Right.
next weekend. There's other things like a seniors tournament that they have.
Mhm.
They currently have that down in the southern part of the state, and they're thinking about not having it there anymore. And if we get that, we would sell beer for that.
Mhm. Okay.
Anybody else?
I'll make a motion to approve an application for a Class B beer license filed by Southwood County Recreation Center Incorporated, Todd Knuth, agent for premises at 2711 16th Street South.
Second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Thanks.
Thank
Dave.
you.
Item number 3, a renewal application for a Class B liquor and beer license filed by Charlie Sports Bar LLC, Janelle Lee Brownell Camp agent, doing business at Good Time Charlie Sports Bar and Banquet for the premises at 111 East Jackson Street.
Because technically, this is a new license, it wouldn't be a renewal since they kind of applied after the renewal time. But it's similar paperwork.
Okay,
They had a license, they were gonna let it lapse, and then they decided at the end of the month to come in and apply for it.
When did they file the application?
It would have been, it should be in there. Is it that brown, that on the left there?
This one?
Yeah. It was on the 30th or the 1st. Yeah, didn't look if you were.
Just curious, you said
Is
30
it-
first.
Is that for the hockey?
that's hockey.
Oh, okay. I can grab it if you want. No, it's beverage. I don't think she left it out for me. Yeah, it's for the hockey. Just why I can grab it, but.
So they're applying for a new, not a renewal.
Well, it'd be technically a new license because it was after the renewal period.
Their
Yeah.
license has lapsed.
Yeah, it would have elapsed, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And so does
And
that,
it's still lapsed until council.
right. So the license they're applying for is a Class B, which was the same license they had for previously. So they've technically surrendered the one and they're applying for a new.
Yeah, wasn't surrendered, it expired.
Expired,
whatever,
yeah, thank you, it's not
Yeah.
surrendered, okay.
I guess, yeah, I'm just a little curious why they let it lapse, now they're reapplying. Guess none of us know that, but.
Well, maybe Shane knows.
I really don't know. He came with his realtor and so I think, for whatever, it's not being sold yet, so they figured they're gonna operate the business if it's not gonna be sold at this point. That's
So is
pretty
this a
much all he's-
$10,000 license?
No, it's
This is
regular.
just a regular, okay.
We've since also had another regular come available, a business that decided to close. So we actually have even another one available.
So we have some available.
Yeah. I guess it's public. Sophia's is an opening, so.
Oh, right. And then in terms of process, what are the notice requirements for the new application? When do you have to public, you know?
Technically, it has to
issue the
sit 15 days. You can't act, governmental body cannot act on it, so that's what technically council is when the license is approved, so.
Yeah.
By then, that 15 days will
Okay.
have passed.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure if there was a notice requirement before their original application could be put, you know, was there a window that you had to notice it?
No,
and
it's
then
just-
they could apply and then.
Oh, no,
Then it can be.
it's just that 15-day
15
waiting
days.
period.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're currently not open.
Currently, they're not, they shouldn't be. no.
And they wouldn't be open until the 21st
22nd, I
or
think.
22nd, I guess, after
Till
council.
council-
act.
Council's the 21st,
Till council would
and
act on
then
it, right?
technically they could open the 22nd.
Okay.
And they were well aware of that when I told them that they can't be operating.
Nothing else.
Anybody else?
I guess I'll make a motion to approve the new application for a Class B liquor and beer license for Charlie's Sports Bar LLC, doing business as Good Time Charlie's Bar and Banquet at 111 East Jackson Street.
Second that motion. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 4, a request from Krista Kuhn on behalf of the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce for the approval of a special events application for the, 15th annual Downtown Grand Affair on September 13th as well, from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. to include A, vending, and then the change here is B, special beer license from years past. C, suspension of the open container ordinance on the closed streets, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm not gonna read all the street closures because they're the same. Like, that's a pet peeve of mine, that Shane knows. It's the same street closures we always have, so you guys are here to.
Yeah, it's just here, we
Speak about it.
decided to add the red, white, and Brews, just with, there's a Packer game that day, so we're gonna try to, work out having the Packers game downtown too, and try to keep the guys downtown for a while longer, hopefully, but it's just something we wanted to try out.
A couple of big screens and.
Yeah, work on something like that.
What's the event on Red, White?
Brews.
Beer.
That's the name of the chamber event?
That part of the Grand
Oh,
Beer.
gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't-
It's a Grand Beer, but it's just an addition to the Grand.
Gotcha, understood. Very cool.
And Heather and Carrie both have their license.
Yeah,
so
we both
they'll
have
be
our
in charge of
license,
that
we'll
part.
be in charge of making sure that the beer is contained. We're getting wristbands, we've got people making sure we're checking IDs and
We've talked to Shane and made sure we have
made sure we got,
it.
you know, where our suppliers are, so.
So yeah, normally this would have, since this was a significant change,
Yeah,
I think
it's-
adding the alcohol portion to it needed to
No,
come
it's
to
good
you.
to have it on the agenda. That's a change.
So where's that event gonna, or that space, did you say gonna be? Where
They'll
you gonna?
have one down at the end of the bridge,
By River Block,
Mm-hmm.
and then one down by,
by the trading post, we're gonna try and pull some feed and have our big screens out there with like a smaller beer tent there, just to keep the guys around and pulling into the games and see our car show.
Nice.
Okay.
I can say, having been to the event, not all 15 years, but a number of the years, that's kind of been a maybe missing component of it, which so
Right.
commend you for trying it.
Where it says where premises were, location of premises is Veterans Park and First Street North, but,
I know.
but that's, you're saying it's not gonna
It's
be.
on the beer license.
Oh, yes.
Was that
Okay.
that was original?
that's when until we talked.
Until,
So. it
It's
will
gonna be on Grand Avenue. Avenue and First Avenue. Third Avenue.
So just on Grand Avenue?
Yeah. Because originally you were gonna have it in Veterans, weren't you?
Yeah. Then when you figured out, we couldn't really figure out TV.
But then
Oh.
they're suspending the open container for all of these additional places where you're not selling or consuming beer from your beer license.
Mm-hmm. From 10 to 4.
Your thought was that they could walk around with a beer
Right.
on
Well,
the-
we're gonna have the car show on both
the
sides
car
of the
shows
river.
and-
So we wanna make sure that we still allow them to visit both ends, you know, and be able to carry their beer should they have purchased something for them across the bridge.
Okay, as long as you've got that all straight. I'm confused.
I think so now.
So we have changes or no? Or just-
Just on the application for the beer license, we just,
The premises description is.
of where it's gonna be sold,
Okay.
and and the closed areas.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the request from Krista Kuhn on behalf of the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce for approval of a special events application for the 15th Annual Downtown Grand Avenue Affair, September 7th?
13th.
13th? Oh, yeah, 13th. From 6 AM to 5 PM to include vending, special beer license, suspension of open container, and the street closings listed.
A second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Item 5, a request from Paula Berger, member of the 2015 Heart of Wisconsin Leadership Team, to open city-owned railroad grade trail between 32nd Street and 64th Street for public use. Paula's got a group to talk.
Did everyone hear get the presentation, the PowerPoint that would have been sent out on the project itself?
Yes.
So I don't know how much, do you need a little background on the project? or-
I got you.
The project is to open up that railroad bed, the old railroad bed that today is blocked off with, I think, a number of different no trespassing signs or some
Gate.
gates and so forth. And that property is used in the winter time for a snowmobiling trail. So it's already in pretty good shape from probably the grading that gets done on doing the trails in the winter. But and our project is looking to try to raise funds to actually put some road base down on that trail and make it even a better recreational trail for bikes and walkers and runners. Hopefully in the future, maybe it should connect up to the Wazita Trail that exists today and would provide our city with a much better avenue to do a lot of different walking events, running events, et cetera. So our first ask, I guess, of your group is if you will allow at least those gates and the signs to come down so that people don't feel like they are trespassing when they're walking on it. Because people are walking on it, I know that they are. And I know somebody went out and mowed the other day too, and I don't know who mowed. I think it must have just been a good Samaritan.
I think the neighbors kind of do it, don't they?
But somebody mowed and they put that, we have a Facebook page, promoting it, we have
We have 954 likes.
Yeah, so we have people interested in the community, to make this happen, and we'd like to be able to promote it further and, try to get some funding behind it to improve it. But we think that it only makes sense to maybe open it up now since it is in pretty good shape. I'm not sure if that's what we're asking for, I guess, for this meeting. And then secondly, which Scott stated in the agenda, but we'd like to go ahead and keep working on the project to try to raise funds and hopefully have this committee approval to do that. And then Justin Connor, who couldn't be here tonight due to a family funeral, he also suggested or wanted me to add that we'd be looking for some help or someone to work with on the trail use agreements. If we need trail use agreements, he must know because he works more with the maps and, and then the other thing was the mowing, if we could work out something with mowing, and I know that would be something financial, so I don't think we need to have an agreement today on that, but maybe if we can talk in the future about the maintenance of that trail. So I know that's probably a lot to stomach.
Well, I mean, they're locked up, but we do have keys for all those, don't we?
Jim Borski thought those were the snowmobile club's
Yeah,
gates,
they lock
maybe?
them, but I think we have keys. City
Yeah,
should.
because Jim lets, once in a while, people need to,
Yeah, I know Lincoln
back access.
Lincoln used to run it for cross country.
Mhm.
I gotta keep
And I
myself.
think Justin is the vice president
The
of
Snowmobile Club,
Snowmobile
yeah.
as well. So we've gotten their approval,
Are they gonna help you out too? Or just approval to use?
We've talked to them about all of this, so they want to work together, so.
Okay.
But we didn't want to go
No, I mean-
further without making sure that we weren't stepping on toes or getting ahead of ourselves. Just-
I think we made some notes when we met internally on the request formally, in terms of maintenance and litter, and I mean, all of that stuff now become of concern.
Right.
And, we don't have any budget account to start dealing with any of that stuff, so I think maybe as part of the request or consideration would be some interim expectation of who's going to maintain some of those things, so it doesn't look like the city now has opened it up and now hasn't cleaned it.
Right.
There's some of that other stuff that might come up. Grading, I think, was another one long-term, the expectation of who's gonna, it's not like, foot traffic is gonna create a lot of problems, but some of those things that, we have a dog park today that is reflection on the city, it's not city property, and this is city property, so we want to be viewed as taking good care of it if in fact we're allowing people to use it.
I think, and Jim Borski's other concern would be maybe that four-wheelers might start running up and down on them and those type of things too, which he'd want to avoid that, because that would end up running it up. Yeah.
We work on signage eventually. actually down the road, she was saying, there's no motorized vehicles.
Well, right,
Perfect.
with the four-wheelers, yeah, because we had talked to Snowmobile Club about that too, because that was a concern of theirs too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Because theirs are motorized. The snow-
Yeah, they are, right,
Yeah.
so in the
Summer.
winter it would be, right, but we can put no ATV signs.
Mhm.
Does the Snowmobile Club currently have an agreement for use with the city?
We were told that they did, but I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
think
that
we tried to
anybody
find
would
one and we
produce
couldn't-
it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin, I know checked with the club, but I don't think he couldn't dig the actual physical
And I
copy.
think he talked to the city too on that. I don't think that anything ever was produced. It was years ago though that was done. 70s, I think they said.
Because they must maintain it already with, you know, like limb trimming
Right,
and those type of
right.
things.
And you
so-
can see from the pictures how,
Oh, yeah.
you know, how there's some
Yeah.
really nice paths through there, right?
Mhm.
And people are using it.
Already,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
right.
a lot of people are using it.
We don't allow pets on
I don't know.
Got bikers on the
Something
go.
going
Well, it could.
Does the person have smiling?
I like the idea.
I do too.
Give me some more room to bike.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what you're asking is, can you do the work on it? Can we open it up? That's what you're asking for today. I mean, we don't have anything in the budget or anything to maintain that right now, but to your point, Mayor, we'd look at that down the road.
And the
I
agreement,
guess.
we probably want to
Yeah, I
formalize
think we
something.
need to work out an agreement
Yeah,
for who's
for
doing
use.
what and what are the restrictions,
Mhm.
that
And
type of thing.
I think any upkeep right now out there is from the neighbors, because they probably use that.
Yeah, if they've got access to it, they're probably maintaining it. Was that something, Sue, we want to make a referral at a subsequent meeting? Or have these guys get a referral out before we act on this request, or what are you thinking?
I guess,
Or including the motion, the agreement needs to be made, or?
yeah, I mean, what's your timeline for, I mean, they're gonna get out there tonight and start. I mean, I would think we could work something out within the next few weeks in terms of an agreement and so, but I don't know, you probably want that to come back to you to review.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, would it be ready for the
Right.
21st for these guys for the council to act on it by then?
Could we come back
I-
before maybe? And
Yeah, and I think we might have something, a short meeting before the
21st.
council anyways, so maybe we can try to get it done then. That's 2 weeks.
Does someone from our group need to come to that, or is that gonna be the club?
If the council's actually gonna, if finance and then the council's going to consider it that night, probably would be a good idea that someone
somebody's got
here to
questions.
Yep, that's questions.
explain it. Who's the person to, which one of you, or would it be just?
You just.
Let's put
Okay.
Justin down, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on vacation, actually, I leave on that day for a vacation, so. it would be-
Yeah.
So it'll be 5 o'clock on the 21st.
Yeah, I can get all the
July
justice.
21st.
I won't be
For the
there.
county.
Not gonna be there. Chad be here.
Well, you need to go to the chamber because that's
I
our
got,
voting.
my son
Probably not.
flies out to San
I know, it's
Diego that day.
impacting my ability to go.
That's right.
I was wondering why you're not signing up. You can sign up, we'll be done before
I
5.
might not be here on the 21st.
5 o'clock. Okay.
You're legal.
So we're just gonna
Well,
hold
we
this
can-
one then?
I mean, is the idea that we're going to delegate to someone else to take care of this, or is it this?
I think that's Jim
city's?
Worski's
I think
position.
that's the concern is,
Yeah.
you know, we'd like some type of agreement, you know,
Yeah.
but who's gonna
That
maintain
we're
it
kind
for
of
the
out
next
of it
5
and
to
they're
20
gonna
years?
maintain
is-
it?
I think that was Jim Borski's
Between
position,
The
yeah.
Snowmobile Club and this other group. So do you have an organized group that has a name, or you don't have a legal entity, I'm assuming?
Yeah,
We're
You're just-
running everything through the Heart of Wisconsin
Okay.
because this is part of our leadership project, so.
Kinda like we did on the kayak things, yeah.
And our project is called the Wazecha Rapids Connector Trail Project, so.
Yeah.
But if there's not an agreement with the Snowmobile Club, I mean, I'm thinking that you could do both through the, I mean, if you could work out with the Snowmobile Club that your group is gonna work underneath them.
Right.
And they're gonna be the entity responsible for the winter and summer use of the trail. That's how I see it being the cleanest. You've got one agreement, you've got
Mhm.
one entity to work with.
Well, because they probably maintain the trails in the summer to get it ready for the winter, and then
That's
they
right, all
maintain
the
it in the
brushing and
winter.
everything else that happens.
And then-
Yeah, so they're probably on it year round.
And I'm
But you
hearing-
said Justin is with the Snowville
Yeah, he's
also.
vice
Yeah, he does both.
Okay.
Then-
Yeah.
So he's involved, and I'm hearing they're gonna put the base down, so the snowmobile club's gonna like that anyhow.
Yeah,
so.
right, long-term, there's some money for that.
It's like up north, I mean, they like the bike trail in the summer, and
Mhm.
So maybe Justin would have his feelings on that.
so really, Sue, we're not gonna really make a motion to do anything tonight, and just bring it back with the information, but appreciate
So
the
my
information.
question is that the sign that's there now says private lands? Private lands for who? I mean, is it,
Yeah.
Well,
Is it
it's,
city?
yeah, it's city property,
Oh.
but
Yeah,
it's
city
not out
owns
for
it.
public uses, I'm assuming is what that someone was trying to, I mean, it's not open to the public, it's a restricted area, it's owned by a public, and I don't know, why that is or what,
That's what I thought when I saw it, is like, well, it's
City of
only by the city of Wisconsin Rapids, it's common council, can you go on it, but it's private lands, so whose private lands is it? That's what I didn't understand that.
Point of grandstand.
I guess I would wonder, how did the city come up with it?
Is it abandoned railroad? Yeah. it's
yeah.
abandoned.
I don't
Yeah, it's the
know.
old abandoned railroad.
It's the railroad right of way.
I think it came along with the right of way that we acquired for constructing the expressway.
Busway.
So that was all part of the same corridor at that time. Before our historian retired. Story anyway.
Last bit.
So I got another couple of questions. As far as you're gonna need some road marking and stuff like that too, to designate some type of a crossing, I would assume on 48th Street,
Right.
64, or is that what truck?
32nd.
Gonna be that far out or no?
64th or 60?
It's 30, yeah,
37,
32nd.
64.
You know, so.
Yes,
that's-
part of the project as well is we're planning on writing a grant next year, DNR stewardship grant, to get hopefully some funds. But yeah, it's not just the road base, it's the signage and maintenance and such like that, so. It's all part of the project, it's like based on a 2-year.
Right, so you're looking at,
So-
you'd be looking at getting the grant before doing the road base.
Right,
Correct.
right, so we have time.
I think we talked about a crossing on the east side of 32nd, or the trail crossing on the east side, from the trail to the sidewalk, because otherwise you've got a duplicate crossing there
Mhm.
that exists today. So the trail users would use the sidewalk to cross at 32nd and then head south for that little bit of
Mhm.
trail there. That's right. I think we might look at engineering on it.
Anybody else have any questions? So we're basically not gonna act on it, but we'll talk about it before the next council meeting. Thanks.
Good project.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 6, consider approval to repurchase property on the West Side Industrial Park previously sold to the Department of Military Affairs for a readiness center.
Right, back in 3.5 years ago or so, maybe closer to 4 years ago, there was land in the West Side Industrial Park that the Department of Military Affairs approached the city about purchasing that land to put up a armory as well as a field maintenance shop. And the purchase price was $260,300. But we put in there that if they did not get the funding for that within 2 years, that the city could repurchase. The 2 years has passed, and actually it's probably going on close to 4 years on this. And I contacted the Department of Military Affairs, and they still don't have the funding, and they don't really anticipate having the funding anytime soon because it's not even into the future year's defense program budget, which evidently is at least 4 or 5 years out. The DMA was recognized that we would probably repurchase it, and they're fine with it. Ideally, they'd like to hang on to it in the event that maybe someday the project may happen, but staff is recommending to do the repurchase now, and, perhaps we could market that for another use. I know it is on the rail, right? So it's attractive parcel. The DMA was not going to be using rail at all. So we are requesting that the city exercise the repurchase. The money Cindy has, right? Tim has kept the money, aside in the event that we needed to purchase it back. So it's kind of escrowed or restricted right now, so I don't know if the mayor has anything to add on that.
When I first stepped into office, we did kind of the tour of the industrial parks, and it was like, wow, we're going to potentially site an armory in one of our developed industrial parks. It probably isn't maybe the best location for it, number one, given the amount of space that is lacking in the West Side Industrial Park, which has seen the most activity, and I think we'll continue to see activity based on the expansion we approved last night, and council will hear later this month. There isn't a lot of large parcels available that have a lot of the amenities, so that was the one consideration. Obviously, Sue covered the others as it relates to future funding, and talking with Rep. Krug, the governor vetoed it the last time in the last biennium budget 2 years ago, and the governor's position at the time was until the military affairs, the Veterans Affairs funds it, the governor and the state's not going to fund their portion. So it's, long time in the future. I would ask, though, a piece to this that might be some recognition for the city's willingness to work with them to maybe secure another site in the city. I think there's an economic impact of their siting here. Obviously, if they vacate the current armory 10 years from now, or whatever the time might be, or maybe never, we'd want them to stay in the city, and or at least stay in a place in the city that might work best for them. A couple of sites in mind, and so maybe we want to indicate that in our notification to them. Should you agree to this, I guess, going forward.
Anybody else?
I guess I would agree too that, industrial park is not a place for an armory, but, I'm sure that we want to stay with city utilities and stuff like that, so, maybe further north might be a better location. But, I'm just wondering if there's some way to keep them on the hook, so to speak.
Well, when I last spoke with them, I definitely said we'd, be interested in keeping you here, and, when you do know that you might go ahead, if, this parcel might still be available, or we'll work hard to find another location for you, so, they know. And I think they like, they have to be within a certain area in the congressional district, so I think we definitely make the most sense for them, but, we can, as the mayor said, we can definitely make that clear to them that we, will be accommodating to them if they ever get funding, so.
And it's the redevelopment sites that are maybe not the best, use right now, or no, that are underutilized, or even vacant sites that, with their purchase price of this, there might be some way to work out a win-win for them and for the city in that regard. So I think that's what we want to maybe get in front of them.
You must be buying it back cheaper, right?
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Well, it's not for the same.
That's probably written in the
same-
agreement, I
Yeah, it's the
suppose.
same price, unfortunately, so.
So they paid for it already.
We kept the
They
money,
paid
yeah,
for
we
it,
kept
right.
the money in a bucket,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Mhm.
So,
Tim restricted it.
so do we have land that we're looking at possibly to the north? Land that would be somewhat undesirable for industrial use, but something that we could trade or keep
The number of
money and keep them.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe, and I don't know if that's legally a consideration through the
Well,
document.
right, we could work through that, but I guess, that you still have to go through this repurchase and,
Then go back.
I guess if they don't want their money right away and wanna,
Yeah, maybe there's an
we could just
opportunity.
exercise it at any time, but I think the idea was that, we wanna begin to market this
Certainly.
property, so, but, we can have those conversations with them, definitely. of maybe carving out something where that might make sense in the event, because I think it was, well, 27 acres, so.
It's a large site, but I think
yeah.
there's a couple of areas where we
Mhm.
can maybe work through with that. I mean, their current site isn't 27 acres, it's pretty tiny
Right.
Yeah.
in comparison.
Right.
Okay, I'll make a motion to, or would you say consider approval to repurchase or approve?
Approve the repurchase would be great.
Approve the repurchase property on the west side industrial park previously sold to the Department of Military Affairs for Readiness Center.
And to work with.
And to work with them to keep them in the area to,
Mhm.
and find us a spot for them.
Second that motion. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 7, discuss the preparation of a lease proposal for the rental of space in the Centralia Center.
This is for the USDA, who is currently in the Spath building that we purchased last fall, I believe it was. And they are looking for a new location because we probably will, that building needs a lot of work, and we probably plan to take that down at some point towards the end of this year. So they are now in the process of requesting proposals for what they call a temporary location, which is up to 2 years. And they requested some proposals from different property owners. And what I would like to propose is a building, basically the shell rent of $12. They also will pay for you to basically build the improvements out, and that would be, we estimate that to be about $15,000, and for a total rent of $1,526 for the first year. This would be in the Centralia Center, the former Ministry Home Care space. It's about 1,600 square feet, I think. Yeah, 1,630 square foot, which would be, the rental amount is basically the same amount that they're paying right now in the former Spath. I'm sorry, I keep saying Spath. It was the Zerflu building that they were in, not the Spath building. So I would like your blessing to have this be our proposal for the USDA. As I said, it's just temporary, but their temporary is up to 2 years. It's actually a good rental rate for the Centralia Center right now. I think we have some that are in the upper 9s per square foot and 10s, 10-something. But I know this is still a little below, or right about at market, so I think it's a pretty good proposal. They can always say, come back to us and say, well, can you do this? And then obviously I would need to come back, but I think this is a good initial proposal for that space. It's been vacant for probably a year, not a year and a half,
yeah.
couple years. So.
Knowing how onerous the application
Oh, my
was, our
goodness.
hope is that, and I don't know how many initials on that, just the application for the temporary lease, that it was a dissuasion of maybe some competition for them in trying to secure them as a tenant.
It was about 2 inches thick.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
was, I mean, it was insane,
crazy.
the time that she had to spend on it. But I think, knowing that and not really a lot of other potential contenders, we felt the price was comparable to not only market, but what they're paying today. So we felt like we have a pretty decent shot that if we were to get to that number in the Centralia Center, it'd be a good fit. And ultimately, I mean, the Centralia Center, anything that's vacant in there is a deficiency on the tax rolls, for us to continue to fund it. So, trying to balance what's a good rate, market rate, but then be competitive. And then bear in mind that we need the revenue in that space to offset our carrying costs of the utilities and everything else that we're paying. It isn't necessarily the best space. I've been in it a couple of times, and I'm not sure, architects will do anything to make things work, and they did, I think, in that space in particular, so it's not the most ideal. But they were in it, they seemed to think it was fine compared to what they're living or operating in today.
Right.
So this might be a good thing, if in fact the feds approve it and submit it through.
Anybody else?
So as discussed, did we make a motion on it?
Sure, yep.
I'll make a motion to go forward with the lease proposal for the rental space in the Centralia Center for USDA.
Second that motion. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 8, beverage operator license applications. I see no denials, all recommended. Make a motion that we approve the beverage operator license applications.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 9, motion carried, sorry. Item 9, audit of the bills. These being to us ahead of time, so we got a good look at them.
I shouldn't have given him that early. Silly me.
I seen one on here for all the person turkey, but no.
That's what I came to find out if there's any information on it.
I can ask him tomorrow which one we included in the. Yeah, in the approval, if there's any numbers you want in there.
What do we pay Metcalf and Quinn for? Reimbursement, would that be through the PD?
Yeah, I
some
have
reason?
no idea.
It's just surprising
Would
to
it be a
see that.
reimbursement for, I don't pay property taxes, I'm not sure.
Just curious. It was, if you want a number, I'm not so concerned, I was just curious. What do you want, a check number?
Yeah.
59906. That's something, the whole, oh, it must have been a judgment maybe?
Yeah, it could have been that they
Yeah.
were handling the probate for something
Advocare.
and then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
for this person.
gotcha, all right, just curious.
I'll make a motion to accept the bills as presented. Let's say the voucher numbers.
Yeah.
59887 through
60221.
60221.
Second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 10A, in open session, the committee will vote to go into closed session under section 19.85, para 1, para E of the Wisconsin statute which reads, deliberating or negotiation of the purchase of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whenever competitive or bargaining reasons required a closed session. And B, in closed session, the committee will discuss the purchase of properties in the downtown area. Item C, the committee may take action or recommendations in closed sessions, may adjourn in closed sessions, or may return to open session and continue to discuss item B, may take action or make recommendations on item B. Motion?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in closed session.
We have TV.
Economic Development Corporation for the purpose of supporting environmental site cleanup within the downtown.
That's fine.
I think Adam explained that pretty good already, but
Yeah, if there's any further questions on it, but ultimately it's a grant that's targeted towards identifying contamination and can be used for demolition of buildings, it can be used for testing, it can be used for analysis. It cannot be used for actual physical cleanup. And there is a dollar-for-dollar match, would be my brief summary of what it's for. This is basically requesting permission to apply for it. Obviously, if we did it and then if something of our project falls through, there's no need to spend the money or accept the grant.
Any questions?
I'd make a motion for the approval to authorize the city to apply for the site assessment grant. Up to $150,000 from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation for the purpose of supporting environmental site cleanup within the downtown.
Second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 12, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 6:26. I say that sarcastically.
By the slow.